Good afternoon, folks. Happy Tuesday. This is Dr. Carmen coming at you live from the Sun Coast of Florida. And because it is Transformational Tuesday, I wanted to talk about whether or not you are ready to make changes. What does that look like? How would you know if you are ready to make changes? Well, Prochaska and Di Clemente made that easy for us by giving us the 6 stages of change. And I'm going to walk you through them briefly so that you would know what stage of change you are in and how to move through them to get to the change that you want to make, whether that is a serious lifestyle change such as addictions or behavioral health changes such as trying to lose weight or trying to cut out a lot of things that cause your sugar or your diabetes to go up or your blood pressure to go up, trying to quit smoking. All of those things require stages of change and the desire to change and being honest with ourselves about that. So, Prochaska and Di Clemente came up with 6 different stages of change. They are pre-contemplation, contemplation, preparation, action, maintenance, and relapse or termination. So, for some of these, you may have some relapse tendencies, especially in things like changing eating behaviors or addiction behaviors, which some people might even equate certain eating behaviors with addictions because it lights up some of the same centers as those with substance abuse and alcohol issues. So, the first stage is pre-contemplation. How would you know that you're in pre-contemplation? I like to call this the thinking about change contemplation stage, or the thinking about changing stage. In this stage, you may not be open. It might be like, don't come here. I don't want to hear it. I don't need to change. Everything is working fine for me. I don't have a problem. That's pre contemplation. Or you're starting to get information from others, like your physician or your spouse or your friends, that whatever behavior that you're doing is starting to cause a problem. Um, you're getting information, and you can, if you can relate to this, raise your hand or put a check mark in the comments below. You're starting to get information that maybe, you're going to be in danger of getting on medication because you are, thank you for the thumbs up, because your sugar is dangerously high and needs to be monitored, or you're going to have to get on medication for hypertension because your blood pressure is up and it's staying high, or your weight is up and it's affecting your blood pressure. Hi, I don't know how to pronounce it, but I'm going to call you Tochi. Good. I'm glad, Tochi. So you might be starting to think about, well, maybe something has to give, maybe something has to change. Maybe you're in a relationship and you are having a lot more arguments. It's not going well. You're not feeling supported. It could be you or the other person. And you're getting information that things are not working. So you're starting to think, what could make it better? That is pre contemplation. You are understanding that there are some changes needing to be made. You might be thinking about what I could do to make it better, or what I could do to lessen the negative consequences of whatever is going on with me. So going from reluctant, don't go there, don't talk about it, to rebellious, where you're like, I don't care what the negative consequences are of XYZ behavior. I like what I'm doing. It makes me feel good. I don't want to think about, ABC problems for why I'm doing what I'm doing, or why I keep eating the way I'm eating, even though it's hurting me. Resigned. You could be in pre contemplation if you're resigned about the future, like it's not going to get any better. In 2018, I was pretty much resigned that I was going to have to stay overweight and fat and in pain and not happy. I thought that there was nothing more that I could do because age had caught up to me. So I was kind of in that resign stage, even though every few days or every couple of weeks, I was trying to modify my eating plan and trying to find ways that I could move more, even though I didn't feel good physically. I was resigned and still in pre-contemplative stage. I knew I had to make some changes if I wanted to feel better, but I did not feel like there was really anything I could do to make that change. The second stage is contemplation, where you're seriously thinking about doing something different. You're considering the possibility that you're having a problem here that is causing you some negative consequences. That is contemplation. So you're in the midst of making a decision to do something better for yourself. People in contemplation are quite interested in making changes. They are perhaps seeking out professionals like myself or social workers or self-help books or different things to try to figure out how they can make things better or make a change for themselves. Um, it's often best that they do this with some professional help so they could really weigh the costs and benefits of making the change and how they can make a change. Somebody who can help them make a plan to make a change. So the next stage is well, before we get to that one. So, somebody who can help you weigh the pros and cons of continuing your behavior, the risks and rewards of making the change. Like, I could get off of medicine if I drop 15% of my body weight. Hey, Betty, thank you for joining me. Um, that could be part of your contemplation stage. Most individuals in this stage are serious about doing something different, changing what's happening, attempting to change with help, in making a plan. They are more determined at this stage to make a change. It's actually the beginning of committing to making a change for your betterment. After that comes the action stage. So you may have met with a professional, you may have committed to a weight loss plan, you may have committed to working with a trainer, may have committed to doing some kind of work with your primary care to get you where you want to be before you have to take more drastic measures. But you're actually taking action. You might be meeting with the counselor, you might be meeting with the coach. It's that part of taking the action to actually do things. It could take 3 to 6 months for your action plan to actually play out and to start making some serious behavior changes, behavior substitutions, to build new patterns of doing things, to build new beliefs, to build some new coping skills if part of the bad behavior, addictions, or what have you, is, what you did to cope. So you need some other coping skills. So developing those would be part of your action plan, part of getting better in your stages of treatment. And really showing up, being committed, being consistent in working the changes with your professional. So, in the contemplation stage, you think about the stages of treatment, you determining the risks and benefits. By action plans, you have accepted that the risk outweigh the benefits, outweigh the risk, and it is actually time to commit to doing something. And you commit to an action plan with a professional, with a coach, with somebody who is able to guide you through it and help you stay on track and help remind you of what you're working towards. And if you successfully navigate that, then you will be talking about maintenance. So you've developed a nice, steady consistency in doing healthier behaviors, of not doing the behaviors that brought you to seek treatment in the first place or brought you to change your behaviors in the first place. You've got some success under your belt. I started having success with the tools, feeling better, having more energy, talking with my doctor about other medical things that needed to happen to also help me physically feel better because of medical issues going on at the time. began to work on changing my diet, the way I eat, began working on getting in a healthier space and being consistent from September to February, where I saw the most change, where I started feeling better, where I started losing inches, where I started melting fat and seeing the scale change. The same can be said of some of these other things where you're having fewer fights with family, where you're having fewer negative consequences, either in your wallet or in bad reports at work for performance, or bad reports from spouses and family members because of the negative consequences of whatever habit you're doing. So you would have built up some success in those 3 to 6 months. And then by May of 2019, I had reached my goal, and we start talking about maintaining, and not going in the reverse, or not introducing bad habits again, or relapsing to bad habits again. And often there is some relapse if you have disordered eating, or you have some form of eating um, addiction. You have to work on, if you are using food in unhealthy ways, to self soothe, or sometimes to self punish, denying yourself and punishing yourself in that way. Um, you need to start thinking about relapse prevention. If you were using it as stress relief, or because you were angry at such and so, and you ate less or ate more, we have to plan for your relapse prevention. We have to plan for maintenance, so that you have enough skills under your belt to acceptably cope and do the right thing and keep yourself in a healthy mode, and keep yourself from going back to old behaviors now that you've made all these changes and been consistently instituting them for the last 3 to 6 months. So that is maintenance and relapse prevention. Those are the 6 stages of change. Oftentimes, people may come into treatment or see a professional because of outside pressures, your employer, your spouse, um, financial issues as relates to your need to change. And those individuals may have more of a struggle with pre-contemplation and contemplation about making a change. If you got a DUI, or it's your second DUI, and you're facing 5,000 plus court fees, and lawyer fees, possible job loss, different things like that, that is a lot of motivation to change, just to remove those negative consequences. In things like eating behaviors or health behaviors, you have to stop smoking because you have an underlying lung disease, or because you're starting to have some other negative consequences to the smoking. um, then you really have to be plugged in with contemplation and taking an action plan. Being here for your kids if your habits are causing you to be absent from their lives, or causing you to be absent from your significant other's life. Those are some good reasons for making a change. I can't tell you what your reasons should be, but if you're not really contemplating change and recognizing the negative consequences of whatever you're doing, then you're probably not ready for change. Then, possibly, if you're seeing a professional such as myself or another counselor, the goal of the initial stages of therapy, the first month or two, could be in helping you get to contemplation and taking action. That's how that works. But we need to know what stage you're in, and the professional should be able to recognize that. And sometimes it may be, if there's no dire physical consequence coming or financial consequence coming, that we can afford to slow things down and help you get to contemplation and taking action. Um, Other places, if it's court mandated or otherwise, we don't have that option. We just have to do what we have to do to motivate you and get you on board with making the changes. And then, even more significant, motivating you to maintain those changes once you've completed the program, whether that's anger management or something else. So I hope this was helpful to you. If it was helpful to you, drop some hearts in the comments and share it out to other people who need to hear this message, who are, considering getting professional help or getting coaching and don't know what it's all about, don't know how they could benefit. This may help them to get some more idea of how this works. So, my name is Dr. Carmen. I practice on the Sun Coast of Florida, and I wanted to do something to help you on Transformational Tuesday to make the decision to start about making a change if you need to make a change, or if you're being told by others that you need to make a change. Thank you for listening. I appreciate you. If you shared me out, please drop shared in the comments, and I will personally thank you for sharing. Um, I do not do therapy as part of this. This does not constitute a therapeutic relationship. If you need to get therapy or get therapeutic support, there are many options out there. You can look at the American Psychological Association for providers within your area. If you have health insurance, you can look at the people who are paneled on your health insurance. If you are in Florida, you can check the Florida Psychological Association. That is www.flapsych.org. And you can check on there again for providers in your area, for whatever reason that may be. You can also check Psychology Today, or Therapy for Black Girls also has a directory of providers. So I hope this was helpful for you, and I will see you next time.